Welcome, everyone. Very glad everyone is here. Right now, we're about to get started, and we'll be looking at today a number of different things. We're going to take a look at a bit of code that I've been working at and that we're going to be working on in the coding group. We're also just going to take a brief look at some of the sources we're going to be looking at in the coming weeks about human rights, dignity, and ICE. And then in the remaining time, I might also share a little bit, and maybe we'll start with this, who knows. But we have some different things that people have done from the moon journaling. We have a group of people who are keeping moon journals. And so we've been looking at the moon, observing the moon, making drawings of it. It's really a lot of fun. And so we'll have a chance to maybe explore a little bit of that. And then we'll get off. It'll be very brief. So glad to have you all here. And yeah, we're going to get started now. So as we start here with JavaScript and algebra, I just want to just show you this project very very briefly. So what I'm showing you right now, this is a terminal window. And just to give you a sense of what this does, if I type in here, let's see, if I type node index.js, if you're in the audience, feel free to share what you notice. But I'll read out loud what happens here, right? There's a square bracket and a curly bracket, and x equals 1 and constant equals 1. X equals 0 and constant is -5. X plus 1 equals -5. So we're doing some stuff here using JavaScript. And you can actually take a class here where we write algebra using JavaScript and JavaScript to write algebra. And we're doing this for the purpose of making teacher training resources. And this is some code for some of those resources that we're starting on. So this will be something that next Thursday again at 7:30 p.m. Central, we'll be going through this again. Are there any questions about this right now? Does anyone have any questions about this? This is one dimension of what we're doing. And then another dimension that we'll be exploring in just a second here is I want to go a little bit into some of the materials that we're going to be looking at for dignity and human rights related to ICE, and trying to look at what's going on right now. So let me oh, I see Kevin is around. Let me see. So yeah, Kevin's gonna stop by in a second. Let me get him a link real quick. But yeah, we'll be talking next. We're going to look at some of the research on ICE. And while we get to that, just stand by for just a moment. We'll be right back. Kevin's going to be coming up in just a second, and we'll be back in just a moment. Welcome, Kevin.
Hey, there we go.
Here we are. We made it.
That's nice.
Yeah. This is a good format. You know, in the past when I've done this, it's been really hard because sometimes I didn't know to say up next, you know?
Mhm.
And now I'm getting more comfortable with that and feel a
Mhm.
lot better. How are you doing tonight?
Doing really well, thank you.
Oh, good.
Everything's really good.
Oh, glad to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so um, you just missed the section on computer programming and algebra, but now I've got a little bit of material here about a lot of the stuff that's been going on with ICE. So let me share some of this. Just
Sure, that'd be great.
Aspect of the day's historical state.
okay. Okay. Can you see this okay?
Oh, I do see it well. Yes.
Yeah, so I pulled this up. A couple of things here today. This was from Ground News about Minnesota. I pulled this, and then I also brought in let me show you this as well. From today's Democracy Now, some of the people who were shot, harassed, and threatened by immigration agents.
I did get to watch congressional testimony on that.
Oh yeah, I organized a little bit of that too. Actually, let me show you.
That was very powerful.
What did you notice so far on the congressional testimony?
I noticed that my wife and I were practically crying listening to the indignity of it all.
Yeah, I pulled up here. Let me show you.
Just the absolute cruelty.
Yeah, I also pulled up this Rashawn Ray from the Center. Wait, no, that's Brookings Institute Governance Studies Senior Fellow on potential changes to the Trump immigration enforcement tactics. And then I also have this tab, which is Representative Ralph Norman on ICE reform efforts and government funding votes.
Yes.
And then additionally, I also have Ankush Kadori talking about the impact of Minnesota ICE operations on cooperation between local and federal law enforcement.
Yes.
So we've got a couple of things here we can explore. I don't know. Have you seen Ground News yet?
No.
It's an aggregator of many news sites. So, for instance, if I go to this news article, oh wait, let me see. I had to switch this the Ground News thing from a different tab. Let me actually pull a different one in. Hold on.
So one thing I'm noticing and watching the news, a lot of things, but things that I think you could comment on for me. But you know, the state district attorneys in multiple states are saying, you know, if you commit a crime, we're going to hold you accountable. We're the state, but you can't come to our state and commit a crime. Speaking of the constitutional violations performed by ICE agents. And so the states are taking on the federal government, the prosecutors and then I'm noticing what the judges are saying about it all too in their rulings. They're commenting and actually really writing some wonderful stuff on what is happening, how inappropriate it is.
Yeah, it's
things. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that's coming out right now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a fascinating time because I think a lot of people are wondering what might happen with all this, where it all might go. Yeah. And see here. And so
I'm making an analogy to the past.
Yeah.
So, the federal government can't come in uninvited by the state. But as you know, one of the times that happened was they were sent in by Robert Kennedy, to enforce integration of schools, stand up for human rights. So if you look at that, the federal government was making states stand up for the law. But on this particular time, the states are resisting when the feds are trying to enforce enforce kind of the opposite, sort of supremacy stuff and ignoring the Constitution. So
Yeah.
Like if you don't say, oh, the feds can't come in, but I was happy when they came in during the civil rights movement.
So the puzzle that you're raising for us here is that during the civil rights movement, you had people who came in from the federal government to register people to vote and to ensure that there were fair elections, and things like that.
Access to schools.
Yeah. And now we have the situation where people are experiencing fear, violence, all kinds of things from the federal government.
Breaking their civil rights.
Violations of civil rights.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and so the thing is how, like, federalism worked, the federal top-down way was good, in the case you're saying of the civil rights movement, but that in this situation, you'd say you don't necessarily want consistency with that.
No, because I think the problem is when you're acting unconstitutionally, then you got to be stopped. Whether the federal government or the state government, you can't break all the amendments, 1, 2, 4, 10. So it's whether the federal government's stepping in or the states are stepping in, you can't violate the Constitution. So in that sense, they're the same, but it's not the same.
You're also bringing up that because the federal government's violating the Constitution and constitutional rights, that would you say that there needs to be some check of that?
Yeah, I say that the check should be Congress, but then Congress isn't doing it. The lower courts are standing up and not the high courts, but now the states are standing up. The state prosecutors, state attorney generals, like I think today, I think it was in Michigan, they formed, if ICE violates your civil rights across the nation, you just call this number, you can document it, you can put videos up. We'll process all of those because we're gonna make sure everything's prosecuted. So, that's states are stepping up.
Yeah. Well, there's so this has been an interesting thing, right? Because you've got people like Krasner, I think, is it?
Mhm.
The Attorney General of Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, yeah.
others. Let's see if I can pull some of this up.
I heard pull the lever.
And yeah, let's see if we can find an example of arresting ICE people. And then, of course, Brandon Johnson was
Mhm.
actually, let me pull up that, because this was just on Democracy Now.
Mhm.
I believe he was just on Democracy Now on this exact issue. Let's see. Yeah, let me share this. Can you hear the audio?
Yes.
Okay.
Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in New York, joined by Democracy Now!'s Juan in Chicago. Hi, Juan.
Hi, Amy, and welcome to all of our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world.
Well, we're going to stay in Chicago for our top segment. As President Trump intensifies his immigration crackdown nationwide, local resistance is also growing, with communities coming together to fight back. Protests nationwide have continued in the wake of the fatal shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preti in Minneapolis, while many city and state officials have also stood defiant in the face of Trump's relentless attacks on immigrant and other communities. Last week, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order directing Chicago law enforcement to investigate and document reports of illegal activity by federal immigration agents in the city. The move came in the aftermath of Trump's so-called Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago last year, when federal immigration agents flooded neighborhoods, snatching residents off the streets. This is Mayor Johnson speaking as he signed the executive order.
What we have seen in Chicago, at least 2 people shot by ICE and Border Patrol agents, including one who was killed, Savario Villegas Gonzalez, an unarmed father who had just dropped his kids off to school. These rogue federal agents are taking us backwards as a city. They are causing chaos and confusion. In response, the city of Chicago must respond with accountability and transparency. The ICE on notice executive order is a step towards justice. This executive order will make Chicago the first city in the country to set the groundwork to prosecute ICE and Border Patrol agents for criminal misconduct. Because we need to send a clear message. If the federal government will not hold these rogue actors accountable, then Chicago will do everything in our power to bring these agents to justice.
Yes.
That was
That's of what I speak. Yeah.
Sorry. And for people out there in the chats, feel free to share what you notice. What do you notice in this video? And Kevin, I hear you saying that's what you speak of, about different people and localities resisting
Yes.
the illegal actions of ICE.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're in the audience, we just played a clip from Democracy Now! Feel free to share what you noticed in that. Any other thoughts about that from you, Kevin. Should we listen to some more of it, maybe, or?
I'm just gonna make one complimenting comment that the federal government, all the people in it, that the Trump administration, they just want to keep going the George Orwell, don't believe your eyes.
Yeah, don't believe
They're
your
just
lying eyes.
in front of you, and I think everything's fine, and we're gonna use a soft touch, what? No one believes that, So while cities and states are resisting, the response is just being gaslighting and making things up and lying.
So you're pointing out here that on one side is a response of local governments to the federal overreach, and then on the other side of it is something that you described as being Orwellian, that don't believe your lying eyes, and to respond with force and to that. Yeah. And as you're listening, for folks in the audience, we're going to play a little bit more of this from Democracy Now! And feel free to share in the chat what you notice as we're going.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, during his remarks, he referenced Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, a 38-year-old Mexican dad of two, who was shot and killed by ICE agents in September in a Chicago suburb. He was unarmed and had no criminal record. The ICE officer involved in the shooting remains unnamed. Gonzalez is among at least 13 people, including U.S. citizens, who've been shot by federal immigration agents since September. At least 4 of those shootings have been fatal. This comes as a Chicago woman who was shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent last year is scheduled to testify today before a congressional forum looking at the violent use of force by DHS agents. Mar Martinez was shot multiple times in October, then arrested, but all charges against her have been dropped. She's a U.S. citizen. Martinez will be joined by another U.S. citizen, Aaliyah Rahman, who was dragged out of her car by federal immigration agents in Minneapolis and detained earlier this month. For more, we go to Chicago, where we're joined by Mayor Brandon Johnson. Mayor, thanks so much for being with us. Lay out what's at the center of your executive order, which you've called ICE on Notice. Would your measure create a process that would allow for the prosecution of federal agents?
Well, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. This executive order is about creating a pathway to accountability, as you expressed in your opening, whether it's Mr. Villegas Gonzalez or Ms. Martinez, or the black man on the west side of Chicago who was put in a legal chokehold by a federal agent, as well as the raids on apartment buildings in the South Shore community on the south side of Chicago. What we have seen is acts of terror and chaos distributed across this country, and particularly here in Chicago, and there has been no accountability. And what this executive order is doing is showing up for the people of Chicago, but really creating a model for the rest of the country of how do we hold these federal agents accountable? Because right now, they are behaving recklessly and without real accountability.
And Mayor, I wanted to ask you about these 2 previous shootings that occurred in Chicago. In the Martinez case, her lawyer is still trying to get the judge to release video of that shooting. Has there been any action on the part of local law enforcement in relationship to these 2 cases?
Well, that's the point behind this executive order, is to ensure that we are not just directing our police department to collect evidence, but to preserve it, to identify the federal supervisory officer that's on scene. Right now, we just did not have clear direction. And what this executive order does is it provides that clear direction so that, again, we can have a pathway to accountability. Because in the case in which you're talking about, that information in the preservation of that incident, there is no clear direction around prior to the executive order of how that information can be maintained, but also how it could be used in an attempt, of course, to hold these individuals accountable. That's the whole point around this executive order, is to ensure that the evidence is preserved, that it's well documented, and then, of course, that information and that evidence is passed on to the jurisdiction that is ultimately responsible to determine whether or not charges should be brought.
Yeah. So, what are you noticing?
I'm noticing that people are resisting by using the law, by using they're telling things the way they're happening. They're telling the truth. They're standing up for other people. And aside from, when I say district attorneys and mayors, there's a lot of people standing up for other people, helping them, rushing over in front of eyes and putting snow in their eyes when they just got maced or pepper sprayed. There's a lot of people resisting. So it's a movement, it's a resistance that's large.
Yeah, you're noticing a lot of the resistance.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, what was the largest? I remember the No Kings rally. How many people showed up to No Kings? I'm looking online. 7 million attendees.
Yeah. And there's an upcoming one that's going to be even bigger.
Yeah. So it's estimated about 7 million attendees, according to Wikipedia. So now we've got a choice here, Kevin, because we're just getting this started. We could stream for a little bit on the subject longer, or we can also remind folks that we're going to be doing more of this next Thursday. How do you feel about this? You want to do a little bit more, or?
I think we should remind them that we're going to try to do this every Thursday.
Yeah. This is we're going to come back every Thursday and start looking at human rights issues. In fact, next Thursday we're going to come back to ICE, and that's going to be a refrain. Share with us different articles and things that people are interested in exploring. We'll be bringing it up on Thursday, and come to the group at 7:30 Central. At 7:30 Central, that's when we'll be having these discussions before we get on the stream, to see if you like having them.
Yeah, I would just compliment what you're saying, is that it's a very difficult time, to say the least, in the country. But one reason to have this live stream is to give people a chance to get more information, to hear what they have to say, to talk about the importance of dignity, for example, not taking the bait, all the difficult things that we're all going through. And so this is a good place to come in solidarity and learn from each other. I like the clips that you showed tonight. I didn't get to see those. I mentioned other things I saw. I didn't get to see those.
Oh, I'm glad you saw something that's
I'm
new
really
for
happy
you.
about it. I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, it's nice that we can share primary sources with each other here, and tonight represents the first time we've done this for almost half a year. So I think it's except for, of course, what we did on my birthday. So it's exciting. And I want to say, before we get off, I want to just share some moon stuff. Because when we meet, we have a moon group, and anybody's welcome to look at the moon and write down when you saw it and where you saw it, and in your journal, however you want to keep that journal. And we'll be getting together by and by to talk about the moon, and that includes Thursday nights. So I wanted to start by sharing from an Instagram post that we made just the other day that shows a number of different pictures of the moon here. And so this one, in this case, the moon's facing east, and I got these photos here. I think this was actually a moment here that I took this picture, was a moment that it was too cloudy for the moon. And then this was before my birthday, drawing the moon.
Oh, so I don't see those pictures.
Oh, you don't see these?
Well, they're down below, but not really. I don't see
Oh, darn. Okay, wait. I'm sorry. Let me go back. I
them down
apologize.
below, but I don't see them.
Okay.
There we go. Now I see it.
Okay. Sorry, I took it for granted.
So the moon is in the east.
The moon in this one was in the east.
Yeah, okay.
And then in this one, this was closer to my birthday. This is when I was drawing it. In those, you can see the moon over here. That's in the south. And that was closer to January 15th. And then this is the moon from Wisconsin. You can say more about that.
Well, what I would say is, like we're talking about, that's looking right out my front window. That light hangs in my outside. But why? We were talking about the Constitution. Now we're talking about the moon. So when all these things are going on in our lives, just from my perspective, it's good to try to stay grounded. It's good to try to meditate. It's good to connect to the earth, to the sky, to the nature of things. Because if I'm going to talk about what we're going through with our country being violated the way it is, I also need to maintain my own dignity, my own meditation connection. So when I look at the moon, I follow it through my house, the way it rotates. So this is out the front window, but I have pictures of the reflection coming through the back of the house. So in that, I can kind of tell how the moon rotated. And I've done it for years. So depending on the shadow it casts on my floor of the wall, I can kind of tell the season and the time. Right, laying in bed without even looking at my Apple Watch.
So you're using the geometry of your home to figure out the moon.
The house is really both a moon dial and a sundial. So the sun comes through certain ways depending on the season. The moonlight comes through in certain ways. So part of meditating is paying attention to what's in front of you. Not if the moon's shining on my wall or the sun's shining on my wall, and I don't even notice. And if I do notice, it brings me to my own attentiveness of my breathing, what's happening on the earth, what is the season. So it's a way for me to meditate. And that's why we're bringing it up, because we can get support around our own dignity, support with other people if we get grounded. So, I mean, that's how it came about on your birthday, that we brought up a lot of different topics, but we also needed to meditate and to stay grounded with each other. So I was very blessed that you brought it up.
It's really crucial, staying grounded and meditating and being present. I've been, in fact, I can even show this to folks. I've been actually over here. I'm going to share this with you in just a second. I've been drawing the moon quite a bit. And so let me share this. I will share this with you. Now I'm going to switch. Oh, wait. That wasn't the right one. There. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, I keep this little moon journal here. And I drew this the other day.
Okay.
This was on one of the days that it was cloudy. And so I was just kind of like, I started off with a building in my neighborhood. And then I started off and I did it as a life drawing. But then what ended up happening was I realized, well, when I got back home, I was like, well, I left a lot of stuff out of that, really. And so I kind of made up stuff.
Why do you call it a life drawing?
Like a drawing that's drawn from nature, as opposed to say something like, in this case, there's actually a whole sidewalk here, but I just kind of came down and followed the outline of the house, and
I like it.
And then I was kind of exploring with like making something grow on the house a little bit, but
nice.
But then if I come back up here, these are my most recent moons. Moon drawing. I like drawing the moon, and I did that. I think the very first night, these were the moons that I drew the first night.
Well, that's what Galileo did,
It's there's something very profound in trying to draw the moon. It really actually it brings out a lot in me that is important to me. I also work with clay, and so I started sculpting the moon out of clay to think about how, because actually, let me share this with you. This was something that I hadn't yet brought over yet. Hold on. I found this. It was NASA. NASA had a thing of the moon. Here we go. This is, so I can you see this okay?
You have to put it up in the picture again. There we go.
There we go.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So this, I can actually drag this around, and this is the moon.
Can you show me Tranquility Base?
Ooh, good question. I don't know. Where's Tranquility Base? This
That's
is, I think, the South Pole.
That's where it landed, yeah.
Oh, the South Pole?
I can't tell you.
Oh, okay.
I just
But
know
yeah,
that's
this
where
is This
That's
is
where
getting,
they landed on the moon, Tranquility
oh,
Base.
wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is the whole moon in 3 dimensions. So I want to try to, when I see the moon, can I try to feel the moon? You know what I mean? What side of the moon am I looking at? Am I looking at this side of the moon? Am I looking at this side of the moon?
Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, it's just,
The Pink Floyd says.
yeah. It brings a lot of questions for me.
Well, as you were speaking about that, seeing it in 3 dimensions, I was talking to my nephew, and he was saying, I was showing him a heart, or he had a picture of a heart, and he's saying it's upside down. I'm like, no, it's not upside down. He's like, yeah, it's upside down. I go, no, you're looking from a cranial perspective at the heart. You're looking from above at the heart. Heart's, is the shape it is. So there's no upside. It's like saying the moon's upside. No, the moon's not upside down because it's
Relative to what?
relative to what.
Relative to what?
So, I mean, when we operate on a patient from the top of the body, we don't say the heart's upside down.
Mm.
Relative to me, we call it south, but it means it's toward the legs. Or if I'm standing down below, it's relatively north because we're at the legs looking up. But the organ's never upside down. So the moon also rotates. It has a shape. And just what you were showing there is looking at it from all sides, which is the true nature of the moon.
Yeah, it's a 3-dimensional thing.
Mhm.
Dr.
Yeah.
Russell Akoff used to talk about perspectives that, if somebody had, say, come over to your house and never ate an orange before, they're from another place and they never ate an orange before, maybe you first try to explain it to them and they're really not getting it. And so you say, okay, let me cut it for you. And just when you're about to cut it, your significant other walks in and says, no, don't cut it that way. Cut it the other way. And after the two of you have decided whether you're going to cut it pole to pole or if you're going to cut it the other way, finally,
tell me, why did you cut it this way?
Yeah.
Because you know what it's like inside, how you're going to feel it.
Yeah. Finally, you maybe you cut it this way and this way, or you cut it you cut 2 oranges, whatever. But when you hold that up, you cut it one way and everything looks a certain way, and then you cut it a different way and the inside looks entirely different.
Yeah, because it's following a symmetrical pattern that is prevalent in nature. Just like trees look like blood vessels. Roots are like blood vessels. The spiral is something.
Yes.
There are patterns that exist because of the mathematics of the universe.
It's fascinating how often flow finds its way into things, like the importance of water in the Tao Te Ching.
Absolutely. Water is, I think we were, as we're meditating on the moon, we're like, well, let's bring water in too, because where it is in winter, and do we really notice it, or does it annoy us, or are we blessed by it, or what's going on with water? Because we're mostly water anyway. Just another beautiful thing, even in the world, trying to find clean water, trying to not pollute the water. There's so much things about water,
Yeah, water is such a blessing, and without it, we're in so much trouble.
Yeah.
It's so crucial for everything.
So on the meditation, we can hold the the gold in the shadow, and it's all simultaneously. It's a problem and it's a blessing, you know.
It is a problem and it's a blessing. Sometimes you can look at something as a problem, or you can look at it as an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of which, one of the people who's part of our group is incarcerated currently, and that's our dear friend Tim Martin. And I don't have to read all his observations yet, but I'm going to read one of them that he sent to us recently. This is an observation that he made from within his prison cell. And he says, hi, Amelia. On 2026, February 2nd, I noted the following. For the past 2 mornings before the Sky Dome here turns east into the sun's light, I've woken up in time to notice the moon's light entering through my neighbor's cell window and landing on the top of the white block partition wall beside my top bunk bed mattress, both of which are 5 feet above the floor. I tiled my head over the wall and looked up to see the bright full moon above the trees. Reassuring light to start the day. All last week, the temperatures have remained below freezing, so the 10 to 12-inch blanket of snow from the 2 weekends ago has stayed in place like a frozen white flood water across the campground. The footpaths and maintenance truck paths are lined with thick, frothy piles of snow, which look very much like the turbulent white water behind small breaking ocean waves, which makes walking along the sidewalk feel like riding a surfboard on small, long waves. Tim.
There's nothing I can say about such beauty.
I find it fascinating how he notices that from somebody else's cell, the light pours into his. Just a passing curiosity.
So
somehow the light gets in.
I'm glad you shared it. Tim's a good friend to me, and I can hear what I know about him, but I can hear in his poetry his gentleness and awareness of the earth, and his willingness to share it with others, to help them,
I think that came across in that email, the gentleness.
So we're kind of trolling.
So I guess we've said a little bit here. I think we've done a good job with this today. Do you have any other thoughts before we wind up?
No, I thank the time with you.
No, thank you. Thank you.
I hope people know this is a spot where they can come as you are.
That's right. That's right. And come as you are every week, codewhatever.us to register, to join. We do this every week, and we're going to be live streaming every week now. And so folks are welcome to come join us and be part of this. We have classes every Thursday. This Sunday. Oh, you know what? Before we go, you know what we should do? There is one thing we could do. There's one thing we can do, because this Sunday we have a Theater of Dignity event. And so I've got to do my part to advertise it. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be doing my part for Theater of Dignity if I didn't advertise what's coming. And that's let me see if I can I'm going to play it closer to the beginning. Oh wait. What? Why are you wearing an ice hat? We're here to fight fascism, not support it.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. You really support that?
This man is a fascist. Get out of here. You are a horrible person. You support abducting children. Get out of here. Go. Go. You are.
We are having a dance party here.
I don't care. He's a fascist. Get out of here. Get out. Out. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Get out of here. You are.
We're over this. We can't let the agitators do what they want.
No. Get out. Out. This is.
We
go.
We talked about this. I'm out.
What? Let's get ready to dance and fight fascism. So.
They're going to be this Sunday?
That's this Sunday.
Oh.
And then next Thursday, we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring Theater of Dignity on this live stream. So we're going to go from Sunday.
Well, you got the stars out on Sunday.
I know, this is really it's exciting.
But in all seriousness, it's really a way. I've seen the advertisement, a little of the work, and it's a very profound segment that leads to what are our options? What are our choices to stand up for others and resist fascism? Think of all our choices, and not just react without taking some breaths. And I think we're going to talk about, when I say the options, what are the options in the realm of dignity that we can choose? So it's a real current and profound piece, and I think there'll be a lot of interaction and learning, and I hope to be there myself.
We always hope to have you here. I think this is going to be a really fun one this Sunday. And as you said, we're going to get to learn choices about what you can do when fascism rears its head. And it's not always what you think it's going to be.
So I would even say a couple other things, that when we are faced with things in our country not going well, our dignity is violated, dignity of other people is violated, it's very traumatic for us. And then it can interact with other things we suffered in trauma. And so sometimes what happens is we can feel depressed, we can feel angry, we can just be in isolation from other people, and it's a very triggered response based on, I would say, not only trauma but recurring trauma. So what we try to explore in Theater of Dignity every week, but even this coming Sunday, we try to explore by giving each other support, giving people support about how they're feeling about it, then we don't have to isolate ourselves or be in the traumatic response. We can look at what are our best options to help other people, help ourselves, stand up in a constitutional legal world respect for the word, the law internationally. We can be closer to people that we're trying to help rather than just be so injured that it's hard to function. We keep our options open. So I'm just putting that out as the serious work we're doing.
Yeah. Well, and you're talking about caring about people. Would you say that I think you'd say it's human rights in a
Yeah.
deep way, in a profound way,
Human
on
rights.
an emotional level,
Yes.
even.
Yes. So we want to we do some role plays that bring us to talk about human rights and what could be our responses to help each other go forward in solidarity. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge advantage, being able to go into a situation like that and actually have a response, have some choices that you can make curated, and not just for one style of person, but for lots of different people.
Well, I'm just going to be very honest with everybody. The people that are doing this role play and facilitating, they're people who actually stood up for other people's human rights in protest, in legislation, talking to Congress people, meeting with citizens. So they are experienced in this, but that's because they did the hard work of being in touch with other leaders in a movement like Donna Hicks and the tradition of Martin Luther King, the tradition of Gandhi. And then they not just read a book on it, but then went to our current conflicts. We still have every opportunity. I always tell my kids, you want to know what the 60s are like? Well, they're back, We are constantly having to fight for things that we thought we already got, So the facilitators in this have a lot of wisdom and experience, and it's an honor to have you facilitate and help us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be able to facilitate with you and to be able to work on this stuff and to join you on this live stream tonight.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a pleasure. That's going to be Sunday at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. And we'll be back here next Thursday as well. We'll have classes at 7 Central, live stream at 9:15 Central. Any other thoughts from you, Kevin?
I'm thankful and looking forward to Sunday and Thursday and being in theater with you again.
I can't wait, Kevin. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Thanks
You
so
take
much,
care.
everyone.
All right.
See y'all
Bye-bye.
later. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. See you later.